Okay, I thought I would take just a couple of minutes to get out some of the thoughts that I've been having around um, uh, generative AI and the explosion of innovation that we're seeing out there, and how specifically that's going to create opportunities inside the enterprise that didn't exist before. But we're going to have to kind of unpack that and figure out what's going on and then how to best leverage this amazing technology going forward. So let's talk a little bit about the history of innovation. Um, it's really one long story of someone creating something, and then that thing creating a better quality of life, or more time, or a backbone for further innovation. But in all of these instances of innovation, we have sort of a similar pattern that arises. We have early adopters and late adopters. We have those that are hopeful and those that are fearful. I mean, if we went back to the invent of fire, I'm sure one person was saying, "Hey, this is an amazing technology. We're going to be able to keep warm in the winters and cook food." And then somebody else saying, "I wouldn't touch that stuff. It could burn down the whole neighborhood." And we've seen that throughout time with these big sort of innovation leaps around agriculture and the factory and the internet in general. And generative AI is just another evolution in this long story of innovation. But there's some things that makes generative AI a little bit different in this step, and that's because all good technological innovation really is removing friction points. It's allowing people to do something faster or more efficiently than they've been able to do in the past. And what Gen AI is doing is removing a lot of friction points at the same time, and increasingly removing more as it goes forward. I mean, when we look at um, you know what it's doing on the creative side of things, it's allowing people to take an idea that they had around a painting, who can't paint, and actually produce something. Someone that may have some great ideas for music but doesn't play an instrument, now they can produce. And so we're seeing that not just in the creative areas, but in all aspects of knowledge work and business. We're able to assemble information faster than we ever have before. We're able to research topics. We're able to write things. We're able to organize our thoughts in a way that wasn't possible. And so generative AI is special in that the pace and offering that it has is revolutionary, and we've never seen anything like it before. But it is part of this long story of innovation, so we can learn from the past, but also try to address the specifics that Gen AI brings to us. And so, what we're seeing is there is a tremendous amount of pent-up innovation that exists in the world today. So, you've got folks that had ideas for startups or businesses but didn't know how to program. They're able to get their idea off the ground now. So you're seeing, these folks that couldn't do something before now being able to do it, and that same dynamic exists inside the enterprise as well. We've got the early adopters on the outside who are already starting to create an explosion of products and offerings. Brett Hurt said that we're going to see more job creation because of Gen AI in the history of the world. Because of the amount of innovation that's going to happen. Now, inside the enterprise, it's no different, except that it takes a little bit longer. Because folks who work inside the enterprise, while they have the same, maybe not the same number, but they also have ideas on how to make better solutions, do their job better, make it easier, and so on. But they've lived in a world where the cost of implementing those ideas were prohibitive. Enterprises weren't willing to invest the amount of time and resources into every single idea that people have, but AI is bringing that friction point, it's removing that friction point down. And so the enterprise innovation explosion that we're going to see is going to have to do with the retraining of the mind inside the knowledge worker in the enterprise, but also giving them the backbone and resources they need to take those ideas and bring them to life and ultimately help the company. Now, I talked about the early adopters of AI. If you just go over to producthunt.com and go to their main page, if you don't know what Product Hunt is, it's sort of a list that every day people post new products and solutions that they've created. And you're seeing just an explosion of AI. I have on the image here, here's the homepage searching for the word AI, and you can see it's in almost, if not every single listing that's there. So you're already seeing this explosion of innovation happen on the outside. What we don't see so much is what's happening on the inside of the enterprise, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today in terms of what we're doing at data.world and what maybe you can do in your seat at the enterprise as well. As I discussed, there's a tremendous amount of pent-up innovation in the enterprise. People have ideas. They know better ways to do things. They're subject matter experts. It's about tapping into this and helping them realize that can become a reality. And honestly, in the beginning, this is a small technological investment, creating a place, which I'll talk about in a second, a focus on this in the enterprise, a place for people to go, is sort of a small technological and personnel investment, but this is a big change or a big investment in change management that has to happen over time. And so We need to create a culture inside the enterprise for this innovation explosion. We need to create a place for them to go with ideas that it's okay. Maybe in the past they go to the manager with, hey, we can't do that. We don't have the time or the resources, the money. But now with AI, maybe we can do that. And so here's a place that you can go with those ideas. And so to kind of show you what that looks like for data.world, this is our process that we've done. About a year ago, we came up with the idea of, hey, this Gen AI thing is big. Let's dedicate some resources to it. And that's how I became the vice president of AI operations inside the company. And really, I went on to go into a process of listening and building and listening and building. And really, what I was trying to do is prove to the different business leaders and teams that integrating AI can significantly make their quality of work better, and also their productivity and so on. And so, because of this process of listening and building, I now have people coming to me on the regular in Slack, email, saying, hey, I've got an idea. Can we do this? Can we do that? And that's really the first sign that you're changing the culture inside the company. People are no longer taking those ideas and stuffing them under their desk. They're now bringing them to light because they realize that something might be possible. So let's jump into a little bit of how that actually looked for us. Way back in the beginning, I approached a co-founder with an idea I had around a tool that would help people interested in data.world learn more about the data catalog enterprise marketplace, but also how data.world fits in. And so we created this public-facing tool that allowed people to come and ask questions like, how does data.world work? Now, this is a very general question, but you're going to get an answer. You could go on to get into very detailed conversations about what data.world does, what a data catalog does, how it would benefit a certain industry or market, and so on. And to this date, this tool has actually, because it gives them the ability to schedule a demo with us, created a steady flow of leads that comes in that virtually costs nothing for us, of prospects and interested parties who have done research and already understand who we are and how we fit in, making for high quality conversations. But the surprising learning of this is this tool was not just being used by those interested in data.world. It was being used by a lot of people inside of data.world as they started to use this to write sales scripts, to create marketing language, to understand what we do around a specific area, to new employees learning faster about data.world. And so we basically took this tool, and I went to all of those parties and said, hey, why are you using this tool? And if I could make it better, how could I make it better for you? And so that process of listening and building, it resulted in a series of tools that I call sort of version 1 apps here at data.world. We had the account researcher, so enter an account or a company name. In this case, I think I typed Netflix. And this is going to go off and do some research using a combination of Google custom search, using OpenAI, using a service called Exa, and it's going to come back and try to make a case for what the challenges are for this account, who are the people to talk to, what data.world can help them, what are some interesting pieces of content and information. So a salesperson can very quickly prepare for a call by using this account researcher tool. We do a lot of RFIs, and so we created an RFI tool where you can simply paste in the RFI and then it's going to structure the response back to you. We created landing page generators and so on, but it was quickly obvious to us that this round of tools was not going to be scalable, because each one had a file that was a vectorized version of the content that we had available. And so we needed to take the next step. And that's the next step inside the company for unlocking this innovation that's pent up inside the employees is, look, we can create a few good tools, but let's invest in some sort of infrastructure to make this scalable in the future. And so for us, that looked like creating a service that basically we call the vectorizer, where we can add different resources, sitemaps, and then it will go out and take that content, vectorize it, and offer it through an API for apps to be built on top of. And because we're able to do that, now we're sort of into creating these tools, sort of that I call round 2 or version 2, but these are bespoke custom solutions designed for departments that utilize AI and a database in the background and API calls and curated libraries that are essentially creating virtual assistants for each job type inside of our company. And so this is part of that process of listening and building and listening and building. And over time, what you're going to do is change the way that people think about their ideas inside the company, give them a place to come to, and then at a cost that was never available in the past, create these solutions inside the enterprise that are truly meaningful and making people's jobs better. And so that's sort of a quick, hopefully 10-minute overview of why I think innovation is set to explode, not just like we're seeing on the entrepreneurial side with startups, but inside the enterprise as well. And for a relatively low investment and some frameworking around how this works in the company, you can start to create this channel of innovation that will only grow over time. So I hope that was useful, and I look forward to talking more about this in the future.